Good morning. I'm going to talk about Zika virus associated with meningoencephalitis. The definition: Zika virus disease is a disease caused by Zika virus which is spread to people primarily through the bite of an infected Aedes species mosquito. The most common symptoms of Zika are fever, rash, joint pain, and conjunctivitis, red eyes.
Scientists in Brazil believe that devastating Zika virus may have already crossed over to the common mosquito, dramatically increasing the risk of it spreading worldwide. Only Aedes aegypti mosquitoes are known for sure to spread Zika. What is Zika virus? Zika virus is an emerging mosquito-borne pathogen that was isolated in 1947 from a rhesus monkey in the Zika forest in Uganda. It is believed to be transmitted to humans by infected mosquitoes. Zika is a member of the Flaviviridovirus family in Flavivirus genus, transmitted by daytime, active Aedes mosquitoes. In particular the Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus mosquitoes. Zika virus is related to dengue, yellow fever, Japanese encephalitis, and West Nile viruses. Zika virus causes birth defects. Zika is the most harmless virus except for pregnant women. In May 2015, the Pan American Health Organization issued an alert regarding the first confirmed Zika virus infection in Brazil. Later the disease made the leap to the Western Hemisphere, affecting more than 1 million people in Brazil. It has since spread to Colombia, Venezuela, Mexico, and 10 other countries. On December 31, 2015, the first confirmed case in the U.S. was reported in Puerto Rico. Those infected with Zika during pregnancy appear to be able to transmit the virus to their fetuses. In some cases, this may lead to microcephaly, a terrible congenital condition that's associated with a small head and incomplete brain development. Babies born with microcephaly have a limited life expectancy and poor brain function. There is a terrible link between Zika and the birth defect. Health officials studied the amniotic fluid in pregnant women carrying babies with microcephaly. They found Zika. More recently, scientists provided the strongest evidence of a potential link between Zika and microcephaly. They found Zika virus in the brain's babies with the condition who died within 24 hours of being born. Symptoms of Zika virus. About 1 in 5 people become ill if infected with Zika virus. The most common symptoms of Zika virus disease are fever, rash, joint pain, or conjunctivitis, red eyes. Other common symptoms include muscle pain and headache. The incubation period, the time from exposure to symptoms, for Zika virus disease is not known, but is likely to be a few days to a week. Severe disease requiring hospitalization is uncommon. Zika virus usually remains in the blood of an infected person for a few days, but it can be found longer in some people. Deaths are rare. Diagnosis of Zika virus. Several methods can be used for diagnosis, such as viral nucleic acid detection, virus isolation, and serological testing. Saliva or urine samples collected during the first 3 to 5 days after symptom onset, or serum collected in the first 1 to 3 days, are suitable for detection of Zika virus. German researchers have developed a diagnostic test that can accurately detect the Zika virus in humans. Until now, the only way to determine if someone had the illness was to wait to see if the disease, as distinctive symptoms appeared. Treatment of Zika virus. No vaccine or medications are available to prevent or treat Zika infections, but work has begun towards developing a vaccine for Zika virus. Try to save yourself from mosquito bites, especially women when they are pregnant. Avoid traveling to countries where Zika is traveling over there already. Thank you for watching this video. If you want more information regarding this, please visit the following sites in description. Please share, comment, and subscribe. There are more infotainment to come.
Habla de medicine. Zika virus is currently spreading widely while clinical spectrum remains of mild investigation. Evidence of relation between Zika sorry. Infection in several birth abnormalities is growing. An increased incidence of some peripheral nerve syndromes among adults was reported during outbreaks in French Polynesia, Brazil, but no formal link with Zika virus disease infection was shown.
Thousands of infants in Brazil are being diagnosed with a devastating birth defect, and medical researchers believe it might be linked to a mosquito-borne virus. So what is this mysterious virus, and how do we stop it? Hi guys, Julia here for D News. Zika, a strange mosquito-borne virus, is sweeping through many Central and South American countries. Current estimates place the number of Zika cases over 1 million in Brazil alone. And in response to the outbreak, the CDC has implemented 2 new travel bans to an already large list for pregnant women, one on the United States Virgin Islands and the other on the Dominican Republic. The ban is for pregnant women specifically because since the epidemic started, the incidences of microcephaly, a devastating birth defect, have skyrocketed. Microcephaly is a condition where a baby is born with a small head. Because the head is so small in those born with the condition, the brain is small too, meaning it's underdeveloped, which can cause a whole range of other health issues, like cognitive deficits, seizures, feeding problems, vision problems, and hearing loss. Unfortunately, there's no cure for the condition, only treatments for its effects. Microcephaly is typically seen in rates of about 2 in 10,000 births, according to a study published in the journal Birth Defects Research. But nearly 4,000 cases have been reported in Brazil since October. That's nearly 26 times the normal rate. And researchers strongly suspect that the birth defect is linked to the Zika virus. Now, this epidemic seemed to have come out of nowhere. The mosquito that carries the virus was pretty much eradicated in Brazil in the 1950s. But as the decades wore on, it made its way back. Then, last year, reports of Zika in Brazil started popping up. It wasn't taken too seriously since its symptoms in adults are mild, just things like a fever or a rash. It wasn't until the rate of microcephaly shot up that the world started to take notice. Now, the battle against Zika is underway, and one that Brazil is badly losing, according to the health minister. And it is literally a battle. 220,000 members of the armed forces are going door to door to help in the current mosquito eradication efforts. But it's not just Brazil. Zika has been reported in 24 regions around the world, mostly in tropical areas. Each country is issuing warnings. Some seem extreme. For instance, the government of El Salvador told women to avoid pregnancy for 2 years. As for the Zika virus itself, there's no treatment, vaccine, or cure. The CDC says the best way to avoid the virus is to avoid mosquito bites. Now, experts say that a U.S. outbreak is unlikely to occur. They believe that most cases will happen to those who travel to Brazil and other affected countries. But this summer, tons of people will descend on Rio de Janeiro for the 2016 Games, which some experts are calling a perfect dissemination vehicle for Zika. If people travel to Brazil, get Zika from a mosquito bite, then return home and get bitten there, the Zika virus could transfer to the local mosquito population, which would mean that there is a potential for localized outbreaks in other parts of the world. Zika is just one of many viruses and diseases that mosquitoes carry. To find out why they're such good carriers of disease, check out this video right here. Most mosquitoes actually fight malaria with their immune responses to parasites. After a mosquito sucks up its bloody meal, a paratrophic matrix or barrier forms in between the bug's lining of their midgut and the blood.
Pros and cons. Zika virus is related to meningoencephalitis due to the relation in patients with symptoms and test laboratories. This is another video explaining the treatment.
What do we know about the Zika virus? The Zika virus was first detected in monkeys in the Zika forest of Uganda in 1947. It was initially considered benign as infection in humans was rare and only appeared to cause a mild rash and fever. During outbreaks in 2007 and 2013 in the Pacific Islands, health officials began to see a link to certain neurological conditions in human patients. By 2015, the disease has spread throughout Asia and South America and is now linked to cases of infant microencephaly. Children born with microencephaly have a much smaller brain and head and may experience severe mental retardation, seizures, and even death. Scientists believe the virus targets a particular protein called AXL, which is prevalent on the surface of neural stem cells. The virus kills these cells as well as radioglia, which help developing neurons migrate to the outer layers of the brain. About 1 in 5 people who become infected show symptoms, and the virus can be transmitted through mosquito bites, blood transfusions, sexual contact, or from others to their fetuses. Health officials are urging residents and travelers in Zika-prone areas to take special precautions, because the best protection against the spread of a virus is the spread of information.
The number of patients of Zika rose to 71 in Ecuador, 5 more than those recorded a week ago, according to a report of the Ministry of Public Health. That figure seemed to 79 suspect cases of disease, compared to 93 that were recorded in the previous bulletin. This is another video.
The virus is mainly spread through.
Explain the symptoms and the manifestation. Virus like Zika virus, besides being related to meningoencephalitis, as well relates to the microcephalia in infants in Ecuador. Only 3 pregnant women who have been found to have the virus are count, so are being close monitoring to detect possible complications and they follow the neonat.
New evidence links Zika virus to brain and spinal cord infections. Viruses, toxins, or unknown genetic the arms and upper body and eventually lead to breathing difficulties. After observing the virus replicating in brain tissues of aborted and stillborn fetuses, scientists now suspect the Zika virus can act directly on nerve cells. Researchers also believe the virus may attack nerve cells directly in adults. Newly discovered brain and spinal cord infections in those exposed to the Zika virus include meningitis, encephalitis, and myelitis. Such infections were all caused by direct attacks on nerve cells. The disorder suspected of being caused by the Zika virus has prompted more urgent measures to develop a vaccine to shield people from the disease.